there has been major GPU prices drops, but we are not here to talk about the specific price drops. We are here to talk about the best budget graphics cards that you can buy right now. We may have even more discounts in the near future because of Ethereum, but we are not here to talk about that either. We are here to talk about the GPUs that you can buy right now and my budget recommendations for under $400. So we are going to discuss from 100 all the way up to 320 bucks. So if that's your budget for a GPU, great, this video is going to be for you. And this is for people that want a gaming PC from 450 bucks all the way up to $1,000. With that being said, let's start. With the cheapest one on the list, we have the RX 570. This is a similar graphics card to the GTX 1060 3GB version. It's actually a really capable graphics card at 1080p, and if you're looking to play esports titles such as Valorant, CSGO, and all of those type of games at more than 100 FPS, this graphics card is definitely the one for you. But if you're looking to run the most recent AAA titles at even 1080p ultra settings, this graphics card is definitely not for you. The price is around 105 bucks right now. It has been used, but you have to bear in mind that for 100 bucks you can't get any graphics card that's brand new on the market right now that's actually worth considering. The closest one is the RX 6500 XT, but that one is 170 bucks, which is a huge difference, $70 of difference with this one. And on top of that, trust me, it's not going to be that much better, and you need PCIe Gen 4, so if you want to put that graphics card, you have to do it on a new gaming desktop. So chances are that if you want to buy a 6500 XT, you will also need a new motherboard and CPU. So for 1080p gaming, on a $450 to $500 PC build, the RX 570 is the best option in my opinion. But if you want to spend about 35 extra bucks, you can get the GeForce GTX 1070, which is a much better option for $140. This one is going to perform similar to the GTX 1660 Super, which is impressive in my opinion, and still $30 cheaper than the RX 6500 XT, which is similar to the GTX 1650 Super. So this GTX 1070 is going to perform much better than those two. So this GPU right here, the 1070, is going to perform better than the RX 6500 XT at a lower price, and it's going to perform really similar to the 1660 Super at a lower price still, and it's a really solid graphics card for 1080p gaming. And even if you want to play AAA titles, you have to adjust the settings of course, but it is possible to run some of them at 60 FPS on average. Now if you want to see the exact performance, I recommend you searching your CPU or your future CPU paired with the GTX 1070 in different games and comparing benchmarks to see how exactly performs in your favorite game. This is recommended to do with all of the GPUs that I'm going to talk about in this video. Now you have to bear in mind that this is the PNY version of the GTX 1070. If you want to get it from a brand like EVGA, it's going to cost you around 30 extra bucks. And to be honest with you, this GTX 1070, the PNY, is going to perform great. You definitely don't need the upgrade. But if you have a brand preference, 30 bucks is going to be the difference for you. Now before starting this video, when I was doing my research, I found a 150 buck GTX 1070 that was well branded, but it went out of stock. Remember that this market is changing every day, and chances are that this GTX 1070 that I'm mentioning right now is not on stock by the time that I upload this video, so I'm sorry for that, but I can't control the market. With that being said, let's go with the next one. With the next one, we start with the brand new market. We are talking about the RX 6600, 8 gigs of VRAM, which is a lot for 250 bucks, and to be honest, it's a great price for the performance that you get. Here you can run AAA titles at 1080p, and you will achieve really high refresh rates while playing esports titles. However, most of those games require more CPU than GPU, so you want to check your CPU as well in order to achieve the highest frame rates on those games. But if you want to have a great performance at 1080p, I do recommend you pairing the RX 6600 with the i3 12100F if you're on a tight budget. But if you're gonna spend a little bit extra on the CPU, I would either go with the Ryzen 5 5600 or the i5 12400F. It really depends on what you want. I wouldn't be mad if you pick Intel or AMD. I would actually pick the Ryzen 5 5600 just because you get this Smart Access RAM technology, which is going to give you an extra boost because you have an AMD platform. With that being said, let's move to the next one. If you have 50 extra bucks to spend on your GPU, you can get the RX 6600 XT. This one will achieve much better FPS than the last one, and I would say it's the limit for 1080p. I wouldn't actually spend much more money for a 1080p graphics card. You can start playing at 1440p with this graphics card. It has its limitations. You're not going to be able to run the most demanding games at 1440p ultra settings, so it really depends on the games that you play, but you can play at 1440p 60 FPS on average depending on the settings and depending on the game. But nonetheless, it's around 12% faster than the RX 6600 when it comes to gaming, so that's worth considering, especially because the price difference it's just $50, which is not a lot of price difference for a GPU. And then the best, in my opinion, price to performance gaming GPU, we have the RX 6650 XT. I will talk about why I didn't pick any GPU from Nvidia in a second, but before talking about that, I will talk about this graphics card, the 6650 XT. Once again, if you want to achieve even higher FPS at 1080p, this one is a great GPU for just $330, so only a $30 difference from the last one, and you're getting extra performance, not only for 1080p but also for 1440p. This one is going to perform similar to the RTX 3060 Ti, maybe slightly lower in most cases, but considering that the 3060 Ti it's around $150 more expensive, I wouldn't buy that graphics card instead of this one, unless you really want to go with Nvidia and you have your reasons. Maybe you're all about content creation and ray tracing and all of this technology that Nvidia has that's better than AMD, then maybe it's worth considering the upgrade. But for the most part and most people, the 6650 XT is going to be more than enough for 1080p, and it's going to be a nice graphics card at 1440p as well. However, if you want to feel safer at 1440p, I want you to look at the 6700 XT, but I will not talk about that graphics card on this video because this is about budget graphics cards, and this is in my opinion top of the line for the budget market. If you want a gaming PC for under, let's say, $900, you can actually get it done with this graphics card and you will have a great experience at 1080p, in my opinion the greatest experience at 1080p, but also a really nice experience at 1440p. Now if you want a graphics card that's on a budget from Nvidia, the only graphics card worth considering is the RTX 2060 at $250, so around the same price of the RX 6600. Now yes, the RX 6600 is still faster than the 2060, but the difference between these two is not as huge as, let's say, the RX 6600 and the 3050, where the price it's insane for the performance that you get. So the 2060 is worth considering if you like Nvidia and you want a budget graphics card. However, you have to bear in mind that this one has 6 gigs of VRAM, 6 gigs of VRAM, and the RX 6600 has 8, and maybe in the near future this will be a really strong point for the RX 6600. But anyway, for these prices on a budget, I don't want you to buy Nvidia, mainly because the prices are huge. Let's take a look at the RTX 3060. The price is $380, which is more expensive than the 6650 XT, so you're spending around 50 extra bucks, which is an insane difference for a graphics card that's worse than the last one. Yes, I know the RX 6600 XT is $50 more expensive than the 6600, but you're actually gaining performance. Here we're talking about a graphics card that's worse than the RX 6650 XT, and I would even say that the 3060 is competition for the RX 6600, and let me tell you that it's insane for the price difference between the RX 6600 and the 3060, or even if its competition is the RX 6600 XT, you're still spending 80 extra bucks for a graphics card that is not going to perform better than the RX 6600 XT when it comes to gaming. Now, if you want to do content creation, you get 12 gigs of VRAM, that's another story. But for gaming, the 6600 XT or 6600 are both much better options than the 3060 at that price point. And if you have $380, I recommend you either going for the 6650 XT, which is going to be much better and saving your money, or going with something like the 6700 at $370, which is still cheaper and a much better option than the 3060. Or even if you want to push the budget a little bit more, for $395 you can get the 6700 XT, which is a great 1440p graphics card, and the 3060 can barely handle 1440p. It's not the worst, but it's also not ideal. With that being said, if you found this video helpful, leave a like and subscribe, but most importantly hit that bell button if you want to get notified in future videos. And if you want a Prebuilt PC instead of a PC build, I have a bunch of videos talking about them that you can go ahead and watch on my channel, or you can go to the description where you will find all of these graphics cards and gaming PCs that I do recommend you buying for different budgets. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.